Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Machine Show. I'm your host, Chris Matan. Today's Friday, so it's all things real estate. This episode is going to gear towards some of you commercial guys out there, commercial guys and gals investing in commercial real estate. And the topic for the day is cap rates. So a lot of you are going to know what cap rates are, so bear with me, but maybe a lot of you don't know. So I'm going to give just kind of a brief little lesson on what cap rates are and how they relate to real estate, and in particular commercial real estate. So a cap rate, as I define it, and as I've been kind of taught to define it, is a snapshot of the net income for a property for the first year. The first year's net income. It's a snapshot as it relates to value. And the way that you calculate a cap rate, which is represented as a percentage, kind of like a rate of return, a percentage, is you take the first year's net income and you divide it by the price. And that price could be an asking price, a sold price, to come up with that rate of return, that cap rate percentage. So for example, if you've got a piece of property that has $100,000 net income and the asking price is $1 million, they're basically asking what would be equal to a 10 cap. You take $100,000, you divide it by $1 million, and that comes up to 10%. So, and those numbers, you use a cap rate to kind of gauge on where you want to be as far as your rate of return. The higher the cap rate is, the lower the price is. The lower the cap rate is, the higher the price is. And, cap rates can kind of change. There's a lot of things that can change a cap rate. The math is always the same. I don't want you to get confused. The math never changes. But, sometimes an asset class is going to have a different cap rate, generally speaking, than another asset class. And a lot of it's related to risk. And you're also going to look at certain variables within the investment. For example, leases, how long the leases are, the tenant, the credit of the tenant. So, for example, if you're going to look at a Walgreens, a single tenant Walgreens with a 20-year lease is going to have a much lower cap rate, meaning the price is going to be higher. The risk is lower, right? So the cap rate's going to be lower than, say, a single tenant, little beauty salon, for example, that where the person has been there for a few years and so, and it's just not a credit tenant. So that particular deal, maybe they've got a decent lease in place, but they're not Walgreens credit, so they're not going to be Walgreens cap rate. Now, if you look at two Walgreenses, for example, and let's say one Walgreens, you've got a 20-year lease and a brand new building, and then you've got another Walgreens across the street that has 1 year left on its lease and no increases, or I should say no renewals, and let's say it's a 20-year-old building. So where do you think the cap rate is going to fall there? Obviously, the 20-year lease in the new building, the cap rate is going to be lower, meaning the value will be higher than the cap rate than the Walgreens with the 1 year lease on the 20-year-old building with no renewals in place. So, like I said, it's a snapshot on how you value property. And again, the math does not change. You take the net income, you divide it by the price, and that comes up with your rate of return or your cap rate. Now, you look at different asset classes. Apartments tend to have lower cap rates than, say, industrial properties or office properties. And you look at the marketplace in general. Right now, industrial happens to be, depending on where your local marketplace is a pretty strong asset class compared to office, right? COVID. Nobody's leasing office space right now. So retail, Amazon, retail spaces are a challenge. So, generally speaking, with different asset classes, may drive cap rates, up and down too within that. And then you look at the income, and you look at the leases that are supporting the income. If it's a strong lease, if it's a long-term lease, if it's a credit tenant, your cap rate is going to be down, because there's less risk. If there's all month-to-month leases or something like that, or, you're dealing with a lot of mom and pops and, maybe they're not triple net, which is a whole nother episode, that's going to change. That's going to change your risk your kind of your risk analysis for the property, and will adjust the cap rate up. So anyway, cap rates, it's kind of a way to evaluate commercial properties as they relate to income. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, be happy to answer. Email me, text me, phone call. I like phone calls. 312-493-8171. Until then, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.